We are connected to the devastation in Gaza. Since October 7th, 2023, more than 45,000 Palestinians in Gaza have died. More than 100,000 have been severely injured. The vast bulk of those injured and those who have died are women and children and seniors, people who have no connection whatsoever to Hamas that conducted the raids on October 7th of 2023. The devastation is massive. This same picture taken in North Gaza could be almost copied for community after community from north to south of Gaza. Of the 2.1 million people, the Palestinians in Gaza, some 1.9 million, almost everyone that is without a home, either because their home has been blasted into smithereens or because they have been forcibly moved to a different location within Gaza. Forced relocation. A year ago, Senator Van Hall and I went to Rafah Gate. We hoped to get inside Gaza to see with our own eyes and talk to people and understand better the devastation. But what we heard a year ago was that all the fundamentals for a normal community were devastated. Shelter, I've already spoken to, the 1.9 million people relocated either because they were forced to flee or because their home no longer exists. That the phone networks were down, the cell networks were down. That the internet networks were down. And even if they were up, people had very little opportunity to recharge their cell phones because there wasn't electricity. So the power was down. The transportation was down because many roads were impassable. Food was in short supply, driving malnutrition. A year ago, clean water was often unavailable. A year ago, Senator Van Hall and I could not get into Gaza. Reporters have not been allowed into Gaza except for very carefully monitored short visits monitored by the Netnyahu government. Humanitarian organizations were having a hard time getting in and often had to do a very careful exchange of an exact number for exact number coming out. But as we stood there at that gate, a couple doctors came out. And I spent some time talking to them. And one of them was a burn specialist who described how hard it was to treat many of the massive burns that he had witnessed. The other was a bone doctor. And he said, I can treat the broken bones, but I can't necessarily treat the soft tissue damage that comes from the shock waves that emanate from all the explosions taking down the buildings. The impact, he said, of the blast radius in terms of the shock waves was even greater than the physical damage.